Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee here. Once again, we find our hero Peter Parker, better known around the world as the Amazing Spider-Man, in a heap of trouble. But this is just the beginning, Spidey fans. So get ready for a true superhero action thriller, packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, more supervillains than you can shake a web at, and of course, non-stop web-slinging, wall-crawling action.
Spider-Man Far From Home is a spectacular movie that really highlights the best of the MCU's Spider-Man. We get some of the greatest moments of not only Spider-Man, but also Peter Parker as he deals with the aftermath of Endgame. We also get hands down the best version of Mysterio there has ever been. I absolutely love this movie, and I can't wait to see what's next in store for the MCU and for Spider-Man. So if you haven't already, please go watch this movie. It's genuinely one of the funnest Spider-Man movies there is to watch. Alright, for the rest of the video, I'm going to be diving into some spoilers. So stop here if you haven't seen the movie or you don't want anything spoiled for you. My favorite part of this movie has to be Mysterio. Between Jake Gyllenhaal's performance and Marvel's direction with the character, they really made what I think to be the best version of Mysterio. I've always viewed Mysterio as like a joke character, someone that's barely above a goon or a thug, He started out as a special effects artist that was seeking revenge. So he was never really someone to take seriously or even an intimidating villain. But Far From Home turned him into more of a master of deception. During the first half of the movie, Jake's performance makes you believe that he is genuinely a good guy that's just trying to help out. I was even concerned for a second that Mysterio might not be the bad guy. But maybe we were probably seeing like the beginnings of bad guy, what turned him or something like that. But no. As soon as I had a sliver of doubt, that amazing bar scene happens and the plot twist sweeps in. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance of having Mysterio drop the nice guy act and reveal his master plan stole the show for me. That scene could have easily came off as cheesy and would have lost all of its impact if it wasn't executed perfectly. And you really start to see the character's charisma come out, and you see how he actually does, organize all of this, how he is the leader, how he is Mysterio. And for me, this is when the movie really takes off and starts to surpass Homecoming. But unfortunately, it does take a minute to get to this point.
Help! Please! Someone! I'm going to die!
The first half of the movie isn't bad, but I would say it is a little bit slower than expected. It's a lot of Peter Parker hanging out with his friends and enjoying Europe, and I personally like this. But I also know some people are going to want a little bit more action. They want more Spider-Man, and that's fine too. But honestly, I really like getting to see Peter hang out with his friends and secretly do Spider-Man things without them noticing. It's nice to see a superhero having friends that aren't other superheroes or major plot devices. It helps remind us that Peter's still a high schooler, and there's nothing wrong with that. The whole movie, Peter struggles with this balancing act of being himself, Spider-Man, and possibly the next Tony Stark. When I picked up on this concept from the trailers, I was concerned that the movie would turn him into the next Iron Man. I mean, he could surely be the face of the Avengers. It's not like it hasn't happened in the comics before, but I am glad that they went in another direction. Peter Parker doesn't have to be the next Tony Stark. He's already good enough as is. He's good enough being just himself. And when he finally accepts this, we truly do get a more confident Spider-Man by the end of the movie. A Spider-Man that believes in himself as much as the other heroes. A Spider-Man that can trust his senses, or at least his Peter tingles.
Uh-oh. My spider sense tells me I'm not alone. Okay, Spider-Man.
Far From Home does a lot of things right in this movie. I loved the cast. I enjoyed everyone's characters, even the side characters like the SHIELD agents, teachers, Mysterio's henchmen, and of course Ned and Betty's vacation relationship. I also love Zendaya's take on MJ. Her performance is a lot better in this movie, and she gives MJ a personality that's very different from what we're used to. She makes MJ a little strange, a little quirky, but not in like a creepy way, just in a peculiar way that makes her character honestly more charming. And I also love the fact that she also has a little crush on Peter. It's not just a one-sided thing. But let's talk about that final act of the movie, which was honestly top-notch. Watching Spider-Man fight Mysterio somehow turned me into a 4th grade version of myself, wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt and holding an action figure in one hand while watching the movie. I absolutely loved it. And the mid-credit scene and the end-credit scene, I'm not going to say too much about in this video, but I am more excited about what's next in store for Spider-Man and for Phase 4. And if you guys want to talk about that a little bit more, please feel free to leave something in the comments. I will gladly respond to it. Spider-Man Far From Home closes out Phase 3 of the MCU on a high note. And if you still haven't seen it already, it is definitely worth checking out. I'm probably going to see it at least 1 or 2 more times, and honestly, I'm looking forward to it. It's crazy to think that we've had 20 plus movies, and I'm still excited about seeing the next one as I was when I saw the first.